everybody. My name is Mars. You can call me MG if you'd like. And today we are going to be talking about books that I wish had sequels. There are kind of two separate categories of these books for different reasons why I want them to have sequels. I have 7 books total to talk about, but I'm not going to go into too much detail about any of them. I say that, but we know I'm prone to ramble, so I have absolutely no idea how long this video is going to be. But let's just get right into it, just in case it ends up being a little bit longer than I think it will. So I have 3 books that I'm actually going to talk about first together because they are all by the same author and I have the same reasoning for why I want sequels from them. And those books are Raven's Gem, A Secret Named Sophie, and Justine's Blood, all by M. Kieran. These are self-published books that were put out in 2013, 2014. I was still in high school when I got these, and if you look at the spines, they all say book 1 on them because these were meant to be first books in series, and then the sequels just never happened. And M. Kieran or Maxie, they kind of disappeared from the internet for a little while. I was following them on Tumblr, and then maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, they kind of just popped back up, and now they do stream regularly on YouTube. They have since published several more books, but I don't think they ever intend to return to these series. Justine's Blood was a psychological horror with fantasy elements to it, and then A Secret Named Sophie was a sci-fi mystery with a really cool robot character that I remember really enjoying, and Raven's Gem is kind of your classic high fantasy. They were all so intriguing, and I'm kind of really sad that we're never going to get the rest of the series for these. I know series is already a plural word, but we're talking about a bunch. It feels weird. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But these are books that normally if we don't get the continuation of the series, I don't want to hang on to them, which is why I'm thinking about unhauling my Kingkiller Chronicles books. But that's also a sticky situation and not meant for this video. We can talk about that in a future video if you're interested. But these ones are so nostalgic to me that I really just don't think I can ever get rid of them. Plus they're very small. They don't take up very much room on the shelf, so they are staying kind of forever, but really sad when I look at them and realize we're not going to get the rest of the stories. Next up is kind of a similar situation where this was meant to be the first book in a series, but we're just never going to get the rest of them, and that is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I have this special edition with the blue sprayed edges and the it'd be on the other side, reverse dust jacket that I could flip around if I wanted to. But honestly, I kind of like the original cover best. But this was meant to be the first book in a series. Hello, can you go on there? Thank you. It follows a character who is a nun who performs death rites and things like that, and she ends up with this being who can talk to her. The Revenant is what he's called, and they go on this adventure together. And when you get to the end of it, it does wrap up this storyline for this book, but then it's very clearly opened up to a series. But from what I have read, Margaret Rogerson was going through a very tough, very traumatic time when writing this book, and so going back to it just isn't something that she's interested in doing for the sake of her own mental health. And you know what? I don't blame her. Do what you gotta do what's best for you, man. But it is still a little bit sad because I loved this book and I would have loved to see even more from these characters. But it still does work as a standalone. It just, you can tell that there was a potential for a lot more to happen. Next, we actually have another Margaret Rogerson book because I just love her books and I want more from all of them, and that is An Enchantment of Ravens. This is a standalone, and it's not the same as Vespertine, where when you get to the end, it doesn't feel like it could be opened up to a series, but I still want more from these characters. It is quite short, but I love Isabel and I love the romance in this book, and it does end on kind of a major shift for our characters, kind of a cliffhanger, and I want to see what happens with that. I want more shenanigans to ensue in the Fae world, and I want more, hence why I wish it had a sequel. But it's different from Vespertine, in that Vespertine you could tell that there was supposed to be more. This one is much more contained to this book. The next book on my list is Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and you might notice that I actually have a finished copy of this book. I have had an arc of this book since 2015, and for the past decade, that's what I've been holding up in videos because I talk about this book quite a lot because I love it so much. But it got to the point where I felt like I needed to wait for some sort of special edition to actually buy a finished copy because I had held on to that arc for so long. And I do still have the arc. I will never be getting rid of that arc. But last December, I finally bought a finished copy because I was at a bookstore that I had never been to before, and I saw this stunning new edition. I think this, like, just got published in 2025. Like, it's an anniversary edition, maybe? I'm not really sure. Hello, show me the copyright page. Yeah, this is a 2025 edition paperback, like it just came out last year, and I think it's beautiful, and so I bought it. So, the reason why I want this to be a series, to have sequels, is not necessarily to follow the same characters, though I do love the characters in this book, but I think the potential for, like, connected standalones is there. So in this book, we follow a girl who sort of becomes apprenticed to this wizard called the Dragon, and we meet other wizards, and I really feel like we could have different books that focus on different wizards. I feel like that would be absolutely fascinating because this world is so cool, and also I just really like wizards. So we could get more stories following the main characters in this book, or we could have separate stories that are all interconnected. Either way, I would be more than happy to have that sort of series happen from this book, though it's very unlikely to happen. But I can dream, can't I? And then the last book on this list is kind of a controversial one because I feel like a lot of people didn't like this book, but I really loved it, and that is Graveyard Shift by ML Rio. It's very short, it's a novella, it's only like 150 pages, but I was absolutely fascinated by this. This is a, like, sci-fi horror novella, and it deals with this, like, fungus and scientific experiments that kind of escape containment, and it does end on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but not enough to feel like this wasn't a completed story. I just really, really want more from this. I do love a good novella, a good shorter book, but this, I feel like, would have been perfect if it had a little bit more length to it, and then it would have been even better if we got more stories following these characters. Maybe like a series of novellas. I do really enjoy that kind of setup, like the Wayward Children series. Ugh, Chef's Kiss, perfect. One of my favorite series of all time. So I do love a good series of novellas. So if we could get more weird, gross, creepy things, sign me up. I just want more of this. So I do think that I managed to limit my rambling here. I haven't been filming for super long, but I did do a little bit of a ramble. Sorry about that. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if there are any standalones out there that you wish had sequels. We can chat about that. I am very open to chatting about books. It's my favorite thing ever. But if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.